Well, well, well. Well, well, well. We are back in business. I'm here. I got a new microphone. Got a new life. A lot's changed. So we have 0 viewers. I mean, maybe this would be a good time for me to kind of like check on things, see how they work. As you might can tell, I do not have the VNA bubble right here. It is instead the StreamYard logo. And that is because I could not afford StreamYard. Hey, it's Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm back. So I figured I would give you guys a rundown of what's happened to me during my hiatus, during my sabbatical. Tony, what's up, Tony? I've seen Tony in real life. Now I've seen Sherry in real life. That's crazy. But yeah, so I did have somebody share their StreamYard with me so I could use all of the features or whatever. But even if I had done that, I would still have to like transfer over all of my videos and media. So that would have taken forever. And I really just needed to get on here. 1, because like I said, I want to catch you guys up with what's been going on with me. 2, I want to grift and ask for you to give to my Ko-Fi because I'm about $850 short on bills. And this Thursday is me and my wife's 10-year anniversary. And so I'd really like to make that an $850 plus $150 to make it an even $1,000 so that I can pay all of my bills and also take my wife out to dinner for our 10-year anniversary. So that's the grift that's going on. That's part 2. And then part 3 is I want to tell you guys some of my plans for the future. And that will involve the newest and flashiest tool of this little corner / VNA, which is the... Oh, thank you. Mike's a little hot. This is a new mic. It's super helpful. So, well, I'll get to that later, but I like this new mic. Thank you, Smith History, for letting me know. This should be better. So let's go back. So right before Midwestuary, me and my wife were driving up to Chicago, and we got rear-ended by a 16-wheeler on an off-ramp. And it was somewhat traumatic. You know, it could have been way worse. But we basically thought the car was fine. And then we go to Midwestuary, and Midwestuary was a little bit traumatic for me, to be honest. It was kind of coming to grips with the on-the-ground realities of micro-celebrity. And so anyway, that was kind of traumatic and weird. It was super fun, super exciting. I had a great time, but it was also intense. You know, meeting people who had been donating to my Ko-Fi and I didn't even recognize their name. You know, it was like, or, you know, in my estuary group, someone being like, oh, you're that mcmo. Oh, wow, you're mcmo. That's crazy. And, you know, that might sound silly, but it was really weird. You know, it was just kind of like my Dunbar number kind of exploded because I thought, you know, it just became clear that there was a lot of people who knew who I was that I didn't know who they were, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And then we get back from Chicago, and come to find out, our car is totaled. We can no longer use that car. And so there began about a 3 or 4 month stint of renting cars. Because we rented a car for about a month, and then or maybe 2 months, and then we bought a new car. And, okay, but before we bought the new car, I got fired from my job. I got let go due to, well, I probably shouldn't say all the things that it was due to. but you can imagine. I mean, it was basically like the company hires some expensive consultants, um, and come to find out my job's no longer necessary. Can you believe the position's no longer necessary? Can you believe that? Uh, so that happened right around the time. Actually, it was right after, right before I got fired. We moved into this new house. So now you can see I'm in a new house. The Heretics Confessional is a little further back. You know, I've got a little bit more room to breathe in here. And one of the crazy things that happened while we were moving was we lost my cat. My cat ran away, skedaddled out the door. It was a very traumatic and visceral experience for me. I chased after the cat, and then it kind of juked me, and then I kept running after it full sprint, and then I tripped over a downed log and kind of cut up my leg, and then was basically like hyperventilating on the forest floor. And so that was a real traumatic experience. You know, I'm sharing all of this because of it's really my duty as a member of the sacred order of foolish transparency. You know, so I kind of have to do this. This is basically a self-imposed humiliation ritual to let myself into the good graces of TLC once again, and then also, you know, perhaps to make me feel a little bit less weird about grifting so hard. So I lost my cat. She's gone. You know, Beyonce, I still hold out hope that Beyonce lives and that Beyonce is thriving out in the forests of Asheville suburbia. But then we moved to a new house, and the new house is smaller, which is good because it's cheaper, and that means, I mean, if we really wouldn't be able to afford anything if we lived in that old house. But so fast forward, in a new house, have a new car. Oh, and then our new car has issues too, so we had to take it in. The hybrid battery in our new car had issues when we first got it, so we had to take it into the dealer, and it was at the dealers for like a month and a half, so we were renting cars again. And that was all before like Christmas time, basically. And so it was either right before Christmas or right after. I think actually it was right I think it was early January. But basically, I eventually I got in a car accident by myself. I was leaving my house and I remembered something on my front porch, and so I've got this new car. So I'm not used to, all the habits are different. So I thought I was in park. I was actually in reverse. And so I step out of the car, and as my foot hits the ground, I realize the ground is moving. And so then the open door knocks me on my belly, and the car tires drive over my left ankle and my left arm. And my heart's racing now just telling you about it. So this is yet another traumatic experience. That was very difficult for me emotionally. It really messed me up, like physically and emotionally. And so I had like PTSD episodes, like re-triggering episodes from that accident. Luckily, I mean, by the grace of God, my bones were all not broken. A nurse in the ER said it was because of my big muscles. And so that made me feel good. And so that was that. And then about 2 months ago, our like severance money and our savings money kind of started to run out. And so I needed to find a job, and that process has really sucked. One, because I wasn't in a good mental health, like a mental space when I was starting to kind of send out resumes and stuff. But long story short, friend of a friend got a job washing dishes. I've also been door dashing. But basically because of all of that, I really haven't. So my life is completely different. Like all of my rhythms are different. Like I no longer work between regular hours, you know, and now I've kind of got a very haphazard schedule. And so it's been difficult to kind of, get back to the same schedule of Saturday and Sunday, basically like all day streaming, which I do hope to get back to that. And so that's some of my plans for the future is to kind of get back to the old school mcmo streams, where we're making beats and we're having combos and we're chilling and we're listening to hot takes and, we're doing the whole thing. We're battling the atheists. And so hopefully we will get back to that. But also in the meantime, I have had some small success at making music during all of the craziness. So I have been, it's not like I've been doing nothing. I'm working on a lot of secret projects. So I've got an album's worth of demos now that I need to kind of polish into real songs. And so that's exciting. I wanted the album out by like the spring, but we're already in the spring. And so I doubt that we'll get there. So I've been making a lot of music. I've been working on some other stuff I can't talk about. And then the other thing is I've been DJing sets in my new super exclusive Discord. Eventually the Discord will be made public. But right now it's basically boys only, because that's fun to do. And then if there's a boys-only space, then nobody can complain about the TLC being overly masculine. It's like, no, there's only one space that girls aren't allowed. But I will also say that I did invite Sandy to the Discord because she's still been paying a monthly subscription to my Ko-Fi. So Sandy, if you see this, I'm sorry if you didn't mean to be giving me money every month, but it's really helped out. And I need more Sandys in my life. So if you want the fast track to get into the Discord, go ahead and become a monthly member on my Ko-Fi. But one of the things I've been doing, and eventually this will expand to like the public, but I've been DJing. I've learned how to DJ. And so I've been DJing in my kind of super private, exclusive Cool Kid Club Discord. And that's been good too because you just get to hang instead of all the thinky talky. It's, you listen to some rhythm and some blues. And what did I do to my mic? Is it really that bad? I just switched mics. Is it really that bad, Grim? Is it worse if I turn it up, or is it worse if I turn it? Is it better if I turn it down? Maybe it is like middle of the pack, all the way, basically like all the way down. All right, I might have to drop the link just so that somebody can come on here and help with my mic. I'm lost. I don't have any branding. So this really is, back to the basics. Back to the basics, back to the basics here. Dang. So many people offering to help. Hold on, folks, hold on. And I don't even have any branding to play, which would be great. So I'm going to turn down the mic volume like this much. That might be better. But also I do notice it is kind of peaking out. I have a very dynamic range when I'm speaking. Okay, looks like we've got some folks that want to join. So basically my plan for the rest of the night, now that I've told you my sad story and why I need the $1,000, again, it's because we're short on bills, about $850 for this month. And then also my 10-year anniversary is coming up this week. So I'd really like to take my wife out for dinner one night. So that explains the $1,000. Anyway, the rest of the plan that I had was to basically go use the new flashy tool, thislittlecorner.net, sort by most recent, and then see what we get. And so if you are interested in joining me in that excursion, please join. Or if you just want to hang out, please join. But I'm going to drop the link now, and then we'll go from there. If the mic doesn't work out, and maybe, let me know if maybe it sounds better if I just kind of back away. Maybe I turn up and back away. Much less painful. Okay, good deal. Maybe I just need to not, maybe I need to only whisper when I'm this close. That could have been the whole thing. That could have been it. Oh, so I have to make a beat? I guess I could make a beat. It has been a while. We need some new branding. Or Grim needs some new branding. So I was just too close. That explains it. That explains it. I wonder how far away. What about this? Can you hear me now? Now it's all the way up, but I'm way back here. So maybe if I just talk at a normal space, talk at a normal range right here. Okay. Well, this is fun, guys. This is fun to see everybody. To see all the names again, you know, the thrill, the dopamine of just, you know, being raw and live on the internet. All right, I'm pinning my message, and a wild Skankenstein appears.
Ooh.
What's up, boss man?
Hey, how we doing? Ugh.
We're hanging in there, brother. You know, this is my comeback, but it's also just a kind of letting the people. It's a signs of life more than anything.
Can you hold up today's newspaper for us just so we can be sure?
No, but I can do one better, which is to show.
Actually, if you held up a current newspaper, that would be like Signs of Life for 8 years ago.
Yeah. If I had a newspaper, that would be crazy. All right, we don't have the newspaper, but we do have this little corner.net ordered by Newest First. So this updates weekly. Now I want to put this in the ether because I have a couple ideas. But tell me if I'm crazy, but wouldn't it be sick if there was like a This Little Corner weekly leaderboard where you could just see what were the most salient videos this week? And like members of TLC, ship captains, you know, invested audience members, you know, maybe it's like a subscription thing, but basically you could get like a weekly email that says these were the top 10 videos in the corner this week. And then also it could be like a website where, you know, if you pay a subscription, then you could like get a certain amount of upvotes to like upvote, for instance, like Grim Grizz's video. You know, that to me that would be very cool because well, it seems to me like it would be a good way for people to kind of get a like, this is what the corner's talking about right now, or at least like in the last few weeks. This is what you've missed, kind of a thing. But then it also, I think, is helpful for some of the.
You're trying to turn our hipster anti-social media space into an actual social media space.
Slow down. I don't want to. I'm not trying to build anything really. It's more of just like a. Wouldn't it be so useful if there was a kind of backup salience algorithm that was not dependent on YouTube or, you know, Algo's whims of like what they wanted to show, what Algo wanted to show you this week. What if it was like, oh no, here's what this community that I'm already invested in, TLC, VNA, this is what they specifically think is important. And it's not like based on view counts or view numbers. It's literally on people saying this was important. This was the most important video this week. The other way I thought about it was like, imagine if there was like a fantasy draft for YouTube content creators every week, and you could say like, I bet Grim Grizz is going to have the most important video this week. And so you create your little ranking, and then you could almost do like a ranked choice voting thing where you just, who's got the most number ones, you know, who's got the second most number ones, et cetera, and so on. Good to see some more people in the hive mind. Brian, Nico, Parlato. Oh, the gang's all back together, folks. Thanks for being here.
75% of Mount Matsmore here. This is big.
This is, now all we need is Krotz, and we'll have the full Mount Matsmore in attendance. But, all right. Do you have any thoughts, or should I get into these most recent videos from thislittlecorner.net?
I mean, like so many things, I like it in theory, but I feel like I'm only going to be interested if we get two dueling, very disagreeable accounts doing like alternative, competitive, like power rankings that do not cohere with each other at all.
And then we
We
have to
need that. We
argue
need
about
that.
them.
Yeah, exactly. We need that kayfabe antagonism.
Yeah, like sports radio kind of a thing would be cool. You know, like I would love to get in an argument with like somebody that like, no, Luke does not have the mojo right now. He's not going. Next week is not Luke's week. No, there's just he's not going to do it. Like Grim Grizz is going to be have the most salient video next week. Like I'm telling you right now, like that kind of thing would be super fun. You know, I to be honest, there was a few weeks there where you or Nick were really battling for it. You know, I think with the release of the zine, you may have been in the running for most salient that week. So I think it's something that you know maybe somebody like PVK is going to have the number one video every week, but it's also possible that a Chris Howard could sneak in there, a Jason Almondtree could do a random stream and that catches fire. You know, you just never know because it's not about view count. It's about what was most salient. What should the rest of this community? What's a must listen? You know, like what conversation do you need to listen to so that you don't sound like a Dumbo the next time you join a Luke stream.
We don't want you to like embarrass yourself at the next cocktail hour. Come on, you need to know
Exactly.
what's happening so you have the appropriate opinions.
This is yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's
we're trying to help you guys have the right
That's
opinions.
what we're looking for here.
All right, so I'm just gonna go through the top 10 here, which these aren't like necessarily like the top 10 in terms of views. This is just however they're ranked in terms of like just being recent. So the first one is a Saturday Chris Howard. Let's see, I have that pulled up over here, I believe. Oh wait, no, it's the first one. So this one was really good, if I remember correctly. I listened to almost all of it. We'll share this tab instead. We'll delete the live stream. Move this all the way over.
Wow. I'm gonna enjoy looking at your algo for a second.
Yep, you got a quick look over there.
So, we'll have to play back the tape. Play back the tape.
Yeah, play it back. I mean, I can show you.
Yeah.
Nothing too super fun or exciting. Okay. Let's as is tradition, let's go ahead and go to the 33rd minute.
Watched it regularly for that's this Acorn to Arabella where they built a boat.
All right, we can't hear Chris Howard's audio hardly at all.
And it's
Ah!
kind of different now because it's life changed.
Okay.
Now instead of building a
Pause.
boat, they're like maintaining a boat and living on a boat, and that's a whole different thing. So that's another thing where the channels started in one way and
I'm wondering if I didn't hit the right buttons. Because I've been away from StreamYard for so long, I think they've changed the look like 3 or 4 different times. So,
Still better than Riverside. Like, I'm sure Riverside's great. That was just really, really funny watching the video escapades. And the fact that PBK could not see what we were seeing.
Parsons was talking it up big, you know. Parsons was like, it's all about Riverside. Riverside is the way to go.
Like, oh, I'm sure it's great. Who was it? I think somebody described the fact that PBK's face was plastered throughout the entire all ladies estuary was, what did he call it? Like digital main
As it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as it should
He
be.
needs a proper
This
head.
is his right. Proper head, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that reminds me. That was like a huge... in retrospect, it seems like one of those things you shouldn't even have to clarify, but it needed to be clarified at a church I was at once where it was like... that, like, there's no way to coherently get from Scripture that, like, all men should be in charge of all women. That, like, every man is in charge of every woman. Like, that... There's just, like, no way to get there. You know... And if that were the case, Yeah, if that were the case, there would be a lot of things that would be impossible. But we don't have to go down that route.
And the fact that something like gender roles is so culturally conditioned that if you apply evangelical hermeneutics, you just can't get anything coherent because you have to strip away all of the ancient Near Eastern history stuff. And sorry, this is getting way too nerdy for this.
Yeah, we're already in the weeds. All right, I can't see the screen on StreamYard. Do you see the screen, or is it just black for
I
you
see
as
a big
well?
black box, just black.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
there it
loading.
is. Okay.
else. And I'm
I
still
hear it.
happy that they're out there doing their thing.
Okay.
But it doesn't bother me.
33rd
that they
minute of
have
Chris
moved on
Howard
and I have
from
moved
Saturday.
on. I mean, that's part of life too, is that you have to figure out what you're going to do with. What are you going to do with your friend from high school or elementary school that you haven't ever seen? And if you actually meet them, will you have anything to talk about? And will you try to revisit that small period, or will you try to, knowing that they're inclined to be friendly, will you try to put things back together, or exactly what? And there's very little moral implication with any of those choices. But people move on. So what are you going to do with that? That's part of a life thing to figure out. Nobody really gives you a lesson about what to do if you move. And what do you do with your old friends? Should you write them a letter? Should you just move ahead, move on? Exactly what you should do about that.
So, I mean, that's just a great example of the type of open-ended question you get from a Chris Howard stream at like 5:30 in the morning. Which Chris Howard's up there in my weekly. He's probably like top 5 for me, definitely. But what I mean, this is a good question for you because you've moved a few times. I have like one big move in my life, so I'm kind of buy local in Savannah and Asheville. But you not only have you moved multiple times, to my understanding, but you're also kind of a nomad. I was going to say vagabond, which may be more closer to the truth. But
Yes.
at the very least, you're nomadic. How do you, it also makes me think of like boundaries or whatever, but what for you is kind of, do you have any way of making that decision of like, oh, this is somebody I need to keep up with, or this is somebody I can kind of let that relationship go in some sense or another? What do you make of that?
I am the one who's difficult to keep up with, at least on a very like seasonal level. Because I also work an inverted schedule, so when most normal people are free, I am not. So mostly it's the folks that go through the trouble of trying to keep up with me. That's what happens. But out here in the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle specifically, there's this thing called the Seattle Freeze, where it's just like there's a weird sort of like anti-socialness really baked into the culture, where it's just understood that even if you don't see somebody for like 2, 3, 4 months, you are still closely connected to them. So I have good friends that I see every other month, and that's perfectly fine out here. I mean, that sucks, frankly, but it's not weird or unusual. It counts as a close friendship.
Huh. See, I feel like I've been trying to get everybody in my life to just acknowledge that is a possibility for like my whole life. It's like we don't have to talk every day. Who taught me that? My wife. Just kidding. LOL. Yo, Almond Tree, welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome one, welcome all to the return of the mighty mcmo. I had the kind of bandwidth, I was wanting to maybe ask Neil or maybe just do it myself, but to recreate the Avatar Last Airbender intro, where it was like when the world needed him most, went away or whatever. That whole monologue. I feel like
Frozen
Nick
in
Free,
ice for 100 years.
yeah, Nick Freerillian would have loved something like this, like that. All right, now let's go to the next video on this little corner.net. My dog's going crazy. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background, but the next one is Christians Misunderstanding Genesis. And this is by one Jacob Federecci. So surprise, surprise, he thinks the Christians are wrong about something.
Is this the long-awaited young Earth creationism takedown we've been waiting for?
Yeah, I hope so. It's really troubling me how old the Earth is. It's been a real test to my faith these days. Nah. All right, let's try the 33rd minute. Let's see what we get.
Why would you be dishonest? Why would you be academically insincere?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you're good. I can't see anything on the screen.
Yeah, I did the wrong one. All right, let's try this.
Oh,
you got
I hate
that.
this already. Not that I don't love Jacob, but this is too many people.
Welcome, am I driving? I think this is Adam, right? Am I driving? Or Scott?
It's Scott.
Scott. Yeah, that's right, Scott. Yeah, Scott, I've been watching you. Now you know who I am. Definitely look in my back catalog. I don't think I'm in the rarest form tonight. But we're getting back in the saddle. We gotta work out some of these things. One thing at a time. All right, let's take a look at this Jacob stream. Jacob's in the middle, like a ringleader. And look, I mean, would you just look at it? He looks like he is loving it. He looks like he is just... Well, actually, I can't tell if that's a look of joy or consternation. Very difficult. I do notice there is a swastika. There is a swastika on screen, so trigger warning for that.
Hey, is that kitty corner to the is that some Norse rune nonsense?
Yeah, it looks like we've got paganism and Nazism covered.
Okay.
All right, let's...
Pro-Zionist as I am, there's a little bit there.
Dude, hostile North Korean is so based.
Why would you just say there's no incest in the Hasidic community?
Because
Why would you be dishonest? Why would you be academically insincere?
the Hasidic community is one of the most sex segregated.
Why would you be so academically insincere? Might be the nerdiest thing to say I've ever heard in my life.
Also, academics are famously insincere.
That's kind of the whole point, is like you remove the sincerity to do the work of academy. Anyway, let's see what else. We haven't even reached the 33rd minute yet. We're still in 32:14.
Including within their families.
I bet you Jacob owns this.
Like
With rampant homosexuality. Rampant homosexuality.
The idea, you have a much better argument for homosexuality than incest.
So wait,
which is
not
it?
a very good argument.
Wait, real Jews believe in matrilinealism, right? Like you have to have a
Real
Jewish mother
Jews.
to be Jewish.
Or
Does it work when there's only so many Jews? Like a lot of them were.
So this is really Jacob's doing the Lord's work here.
We all believe in conversion.
Oh,
You can
we all
convert
do?
to Judaism, yes.
Oh
Except
no.
for a very small community of Syrians which don't allow.
It's crazy that you haven't like seen the large amount of Jews in high up offices saying the opposite of what you're saying. It's crazy. It's like you.
Who
Yeah,
you
Jacob.
talking
What about
about?
You
Epstein?
think we get
Who
this
are you
from
talking
pictures?
about?
Well, I don't make it a hobby to memorize Jewish names, but I'm.
Well, guess what? I don't make it a hobby.
Parentheses them for me.
I'll tell you what. 12 things I'll never remember, and that's the tribes of Israel. Okay, because I don't spend my time memorizing Jewish names. Jacob. Thank you, Jacob, for going into the lion's den.
Me to compile a list.
The Goyim's den.
Name, Jesus.
I will go through
like
and
that
I'll-
Jewish name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Joshua. Jesus. Yeah.
Jew.
You got an Italian last name, it looks like.
It's actually Turkish last name.
Oh, okay.
He's from Iran.
Anyway, we
Okay.
kind of went away from the topic.
Who's this guy? This guy's stealing my swag with the shades. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, so I feel like that's enough of that. Unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to be the most salient video in the corner this week. If you disagree, feel free to put your comment in the chat, or heck, hop on in and tell me where I'm wrong. Maybe I should go to a different part of the video.
There may be some pros in there, but there's a lot of pigs on that screen. That's for sure.
Oof. Whoa. Whoa, boy.
It's a
Piggies?
metaphor.
Little piggies on that screen?
Actually,
All
no.
right.
What? Hey, I mean, if you get 9 people in a stream, odds are one of them is a Fed, right?
That's probably true. Although I feel like I've had 9 people on a stream with no feds. But by the time you get to 9, I think you're due for either a Fed or or maybe somebody who's like out to get you. Somebody that's not there with the best intentions.
Somebody from way above your standing or way below your standing.
Yeah, probably. Hey, welcome, Clint. All right. Well, let's go to the next one, which the next one is Afriel Pilotson, No Friday Livestream Rebellion by Ron Copperman. Let's see. We'll share this tab instead.
I love Ron because AF streams on Saturdays.
We'd like you to be introduced.
Oh, we got funny voices at the intro. I haven't seen this one.
Tonight is a Friday. There is no Afro pilots, and it's very sad. So we are having protest. No Afro pilots, and we will show you.
Is this a Russian voice? What is this?
I thought it was Borat at first.
Screen Afro pilots, and this.
I think this is what the kids call vocal stimming.
Is what you are not seeing.
I do like Ron making fun of Afriel for not streaming. He's like, "Where's Afriel?"
It's very sad.
Mark D. Parker tried to do that with me. Little did he know my life was falling apart.
So
he was hitting the waiting on McMo streams, and I was like having
not
PTSD flashbacks.
And that's why
shoving you further into your
live stream things
look
now.
at me!
I remembered
Because
it though. I felt the love.
I have just invited
All right, let's go.
Mark S. I think I'll call Mark Parker.
Oh, you're gonna call Mark Parker?
Let's go,
All
Mark.
right, let's fast forward to the 33rd minute,
Mark
as
Parker.
is tradition. Oh, we got some other people in here.
Kind of crew.
No, here's the thing. At work, I'll drink a tumbler of
Ah,
water. Water is my preferred choice.
Until it's
the two marks.
meat and wine.
Until it's meat time. And it's funny.
It's a mark born every second.
No, I don't actually. I got this
All
guy.
right, I gotta take this hoodie off. I'm getting hot under
Yes,
these
very proud of
lights.
that. Is this something they've attached to you? Was this something? Is this a court order device, Ron? Be honest.
It's Ron has a lifetime breathalyzer order.
No.
I've never
No,
seen.
no,
I, see,
what?
I didn't even know what one looked like until Ron showed up with this thing, and then he's like, "See it? I've seen it 100 times now."
I mean, you're probably one of the few. I mean, that's pretty cool. You're probably one of the few people that breathalyzes yourself to make sure everyone is safe. I mean, that's
Safe to drive on the internet.
Oh yeah, see, yeah, that's it. That's it. You are not. It's like, am I stupid yet? Oh, you just read stupid. You're pointing, point, stupid. You should not drive. So
California. I
and
don't know how
I
you
got
drink
this a long
anything
time
to
ago because I was
drive.
hanging out.
Say what? We got a little
But
lag.
it's
going.
point. It's point. Yeah, it's probably. What?
0.08 is what it is.
3.
0.08
Yeah,
is
that's
what it is here.
That's
Okay.
federal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have a drink and
Yeah,
drive
it's
safe.
federal.
I got a DUI in California one time. But it wasn't for alcohol; it was for weed. I was driving down a one-way street.
You gotta say what they're talking about was on theme. I was out in the woods with Afriel this night, which is why he wasn't streaming, and we were tilted on. One of our friends brought some. Yep. This is some homemade hooch from one of our PNW buddies who brought it out to the camp out, and we got sideways pretty quickly.
Well, I have not been drinking as much as I like to for budgetary reasons, but you should not drink. If you learn anything from this McMo stream, it is not. We do not think it's cool to drink and drive. That's not cool. That's lame. Don't do it, folks. Oh, do you have some echo too? Is everything bad now? Is the quality of the McMo streams, has it dropped to such a point? We need QC. We need QA. We need the JQ. That'll actually we already crossed that bridge. We don't need to go back.
Been there once. Already.
So yeah, we got Mark and Ron talking sobriety, talking drinking and driving in California. Clint said he's just lounging and healing up. Knee worked on. Did you get it injured from your athletic endeavors, sir?
He saw Ron on the screen and started throwing up prayer requests.
Oh. Lord, please let Ron know that Clint needs to be prayed for. Yeah, Ethan, if you go back and listen, I didn't see. I know you said well, I wasn't going to blow your spot, but it was. Guess what? It was Ethan, everybody, who offered to share his StreamYard, but it didn't work. I didn't see the email. I couldn't see it. So, twerked it in sports ball. How did I know? Clint is at that. Clint's very athletic. I've seen him do his stuff, but he is starting to get at that age where the athleticism it burns you because you still think that you can push it, and maybe you can, maybe you can't. But that's just getting older, you know. What would PVK say? The age of decay. All right, let's get to the next video. Any other thoughts on Ron, Mark, and Mark? I mean, what a crew though. That is like a big three. If we're talking TLC greats, a House of Woo, a vintage House of Woo, while Mark was still miserable at his old church, Mark D. Parker, those were the vintage houses of Woo, where you would get Ron, Mark S., and Mark D. Parker, and who knows what they were talking about, but the vibes, all-time vibes.
Ooh, no.
All right,
phenomenal. This is a solid offensive line right here for sure.
I don't know, Mark S., I've seen him in real life. He's more like a running back. So, I mean, all of these, honestly, Mark D. Parker is the only guy I'd really want on my football team. That guy's bigger than you think. But Ron's pretty small. Mark S. is pretty small. No offense, guys. But as far as football goes,
salience-wise, physicality does not matter here.
Yeah, salience-wise, they're linebackers.
Think about it that way.
They might as well be, I mean, tight ends. The height of physique in terms of salience, playing. All right. Next one on the docket is, and this might have been my top number one of the week. I think exploring Tayo and Black Pirate Jesus, really all the work Ethan's been doing in the mornings, with Tayo hopping on, with I think this is Jeff P that hopped on as well. Maybe not. I think Ethan has I think he's somewhat put the TLC on his back and kind of carried us these last couple of weeks to months. I don't really think anybody's been doing it as good as Ethan has. And I'm not just saying that because he offered to pay for my StreamYard. I thought this before he offered. All right, let's check in with a 33rd minute. Let's see what they were exploring while they were exploring Tayo and Black Pirate Jesus.
Those who don't hold the same identity to enter into a now majority space. The majority of TLC is Christian, at least the content creators are. And so
Praise God.
What's left? Is it just to be in a chat room and firing off stuff, and then maybe your comments get highlighted? If you come onto a stream and it's like, oh well, I mean, you're from outside of this identity, so we'll listen to you, but it's kind of annoying because we don't share identity. And it's like, what do you do with that? And then I think about Jesus, and Jesus seems he seems so uninterested in the center of identity. He seems like nearly, not everything, and maybe it's not even fair to say everything he does. Maybe it is 50-50, I'm not sure. But the stories that come to mind first, which is maybe just my viewpoint and not actually what Jesus does, are him going to the edges and the fringes and being interested in that edge of identity, and almost arguing yo, there's room for you in here. This tribe is bigger than the other tribe. This is a meta tribe. There can be space for you here. And what does that look like on the internet?
My computer's having lag problems. But that is the question of the moment, right? In some respects.
Does it have to be?
What do you mean? Say more.
Oh, I just get so I just don't empathize at all with people's hangups on identity. It's just a question that's almost completely uninteresting to me. mostly because I don't really believe you get to decide your identity. So arguing about it seems just silly and absurd, which I guess would be up your alley.
Yeah, arguing about identities is probably the best thing we could do. No, no, it's interesting because I didn't hear that as an identity problem or question. So maybe connect the dots on that for me. For what I heard was him kind of explaining the tension of the kind of majority of the voices. Now, we just showed Jewish Jacob, talking about how Christians get Genesis wrong when really he was, he's having to defend himself against unkind interlocutors for the most part. But is it a problem? I heard it as basically Ethan noticing that most of the creators are Christian. Most of the subject topics have been trending away from quote unquote meaning and psychology towards theology, towards even kind of practical discipleship. And even some of the ways in which a lot of that stuff was still present at the beginning, it wasn't as maybe forward as it is now. And it wasn't maybe as self-conscious. But I don't know how, and at the risk of navel gazing, I don't know how to change it at all about, within TLC. Like, I mean, I'm not going to put a Ko-Fi goal that's like $2,000 for me to stop talking about Jesus. Maybe for one episode. I'd consider it for one stream, if the money was right, But yeah, I don't know so either connect it for me in terms of why you were thinking about it in terms of identity, or just respond to kind of what I was saying. Like, I don't know. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, like the big thing that I heard is I'm talking about like the fringe versus the center of identity and whatnot. And I guess specifically the Christian identity is what he's talking about. But I don't know. I also just really believe that this whole idea of like, why aren't there more of X kind of person here? I'm not sure if that's a question you can really answer. I mean, like, is anybody here actually casting a net trying to catch a specific kind of person?
I mean, I've been trying to get black people here for years, but it's just not working.
Pay attention to Ethan. He found one.
Yeah. Well, I know. We all know Tayo. But we also have Rob, who, if Rob is white, that would be incredibly hilarious. Do you know of Rob?
I do know of Rob.
Yeah.
I made a tasteless joke in Bible study a few weeks ago, and he called me a racist for the rest of the hour.
Yeah. Well, you
to
deserve
be fair, it was
that.
a tasteless joke. I did deserve that.
You deserved it, and you'll keep deserving it systemically. You're systemically racist in my book, and so that's the bigger issue. But no, the point. Why did I bring that up? It's because like I agree with you. Like, it's weird to say like, why aren't there more of this person, this type of person here, as if there's like, I don't know, that a lack of a certain identity marker within a given community is somehow proof of really anything other than kind of pure coinky-dink. You could also say, like, why aren't there more black people interested in John Vervaeke and Paul Vanderklay? Which is a weird question to ask too, right? So, but I don't. Here's a little bit of a shift.
Well, wait. Let's trap it here for a second. Because,
okay, go ahead.
I mean, this is like I probably am kind of like trying to attack this issue in real life in a slightly different way. And that's like, I recently connected with a couple of different friends who, like, midway through, I'm like, again, they're dealing with that we live in the Pacific Northwest. So all of my best friends I see maybe every other month or something like that. And part of me is like, okay, this is in the span of like 2 weeks, I ran into 3 of them. And I'm like, is this the sign that I need to start like organizing my own local estuary and stop being a parasite with everyone else's? Because that's also the sort of thing that all these people would love, something like that. But most of them are also very, very evangelical types going through that sort of stuff. And so it's just they don't want to talk about the esoteric mysteries of the Holy Grail for 2 hours. That's just not their cup of tea at all. That's not their bag.
Yeah, and I mean, that's true. Maybe not for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I relate to the
just
exvangelical.
because these are my friends and I want to be friends with them, like I very much want to thinking serious about starting a space that is, I guess, an explicitly non-Christian estuary, which is interesting since it's always billed as a church adjacent sort of thing. And I'm like, nope. I'm trying to build the sort of space that can reassure all these people this isn't that. We're not trying to fix you. We're not trying to convert you. We're not trying to draw you back in. And it's purely because this is a personalist thing for me. These are people that I care about, and I want to find an excuse to keep hanging out with them because they're great people.
Yeah. Well, dude? What's up, Lance? Good to see you, Lance. Holy cow!
Wow.
I mean, anybody feel free to make this anything other than two Matts late at night, but if not, I mean, we'll keep going. So
Neil thinks he can fix me. That's a bold statement, sir.
I don't know. Could Neil fix you in the way that a dog is fixed? Perhaps.
To be fair, I've implicitly done that to myself pretty well.
Whoa! A Volcel? I got a Volcel on my stream now. What the hell? No, I mean that is interesting, right? I don't know what I would do if I wanted to make a non-Christian leaning estuary. I mean, it would have to be philosophical, I guess, for me because I would want to talk about Kierkegaard, but you're gonna be hard pressed, especially if there's drinks involved, to get me not talking about Jesus at some point. I do that. I can't help it.
I mean, no, I'll still talk about my beat as well, but in a way that can draw them in.
Oh yeah, you got to be so coy with these non-believers. You got to be so gentle and coy with them.
I'm
But
just going to do what I typically do when I talk about something nobody else in the room is interested in. Is I preface it by saying, "This is basically a mental illness for me. Just bear with me."
You don't rack
all
your
those
brain
books
to
on
try
my
to
shelf,
make it
yeah, it's a
interesting and
disease.
entertaining. I guess we each have our routes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you make of this? Is his claim true that in Scripture, Christ is playing with this inside-outside dynamic or this sinner and fringe dynamic? To me, this is a kind of theme that's been brought up somewhat recently. Or at least when I was growing up, it was stated in different terms, right? Who's the insides and who's the outsides, and do you consider the Pharisees the inside, or are they the outside? Are the apostles the inside and the crowds are the outside? So I think Ethan's trying to make this point that Christ is often way different than we would expect him or a man from his time to be with certain types of people who are different than him, that kind of have those different identities. Tax collectors, prostitutes, etc., etc. But at the same time, I don't actually get the sense that Christ ever goes full inversion in some sense. I don't think Christ ever looks out in the crowd and says, there aren't enough Samaritans in this crowd. What's the reason for that? What? So what do you make of, obviously, yeah, I don't know. I guess it also gets into some of the deeper mysteries about how some of the time Christ, oftentimes he'll tell Gentiles, I think it's in John where it's clear. Oh, which actually, this reminds me of something I recently learned that I think you'll like too. But yeah, well, he tells some people that he heals not to tell anybody, and then he tells some people he heals to go and tell everybody they know. And so there's that mystery afoot. And then before I pass the ball back to you, I did want to just mention before I forget, I recently heard someone talk about how Christ calming the storms and exorcising the demoniac, the legion, into the pigs, that those two miracles are the answer to Leviathan and Behemoth in Job. That the calming of the waters was kind of the calming of the Leviathan spirit and the commanding of it to kind of chill out. And then that because the legion demoniac, he's got they say he breaks through. He's got this strength that can breaks through the chains, right? And so that's kind of reminds you of Behemoth. So that sounded like something you or Boostatil would love, or actually, Jess P would be all over that too.
Yeah, I just have to
So-
bookmark that one and like
Yeah, we'll
read through
bookmark
those
that.
chapters for a while and think. So I don't have any comments yet, other than that's very interesting. Yeah, but I think on the inside outside thing, I think two things. Like one, Christ is the center, so wherever he is, that is where the center is. And a big feature of his preaching is always both him and Mary. We'll throw the sainted Mother of God in there too. Also Hannah in the Old Testament talked a lot about they look forward to the low being raised up and the high being brought down. So there's this not inversion, but this restoration. The last will be first, the first will be last. And I think the big thing, or my initial read on, Christ is the center, is I think every time somebody finds their way into the center, they want to freeze the whole system and lock it down because they're in the middle, because they're the center of attention. And I think one of the things that Christ is doing is trying to take this static thing and get the thing moving again, and recognize that this is something that's always revolving, because it's the nature of Christ, who is the highest, to go to the lowest point possible. And if we follow his example, it means everyone is engaging in this race to the bottom. And the further you race to the bottom, the low they're going to be elevated up. So it's this, like recirculation of power, status that's constantly going on, because we're not trying to hoard power, but instead give it away through service and love.
Yeah. There's something here, though, we need to be careful, because in response to that and in response to Lance, because, I feel like you guys are on similar tips here, but, yes, it's not an inversion, says Lance. It's the unification of all things in him. I think what I'm afraid of missing, though, is the way in which Christ is unexpected. Even I think it's probably safe to say that nobody quite gets the ways in which he's Alpha and Omega, right? Like it seems like it's not until Paul that someone kind of understands the rhetorical question of, like, for who can go up where Christ is, or who can descend what like Christ has. Like there's this idea of were you great, you would be humble. But because you are not humble, you are not great. And so that kind of becomes the logic of it, rather than it kind of being this ever flipping. I get an image of like an ever flipping hourglass, where it's just like Christ is the top, and now he's serving everyone. So now he's on the bottom. And so now somebody evil's on top. And so now Christ has to rise back on top to beat the evil guy. And now the evil guy's on bottom. But now Christ flips over again to serve the lowest. It's there's this kind of I want to avoid that logic, because I don't think that that's actually we had Noah here for a second, and then I lost him before I had the chance to introduce him to the stage properly. Noah, please come back. But yeah, I wonder what you make of that. Is there something we're losing in this dynamic when we say, yes, it's not an inversion, it's the unification of all things in him? Is there not something that's kind of, if not inverted, maybe not, is it mysterious? Is that the best way? And also, welcome, Noah.
I think it's definitely mysterious. And I think you're definitely right that he is he's unexpected. I think it's a good general rule to expect that he's going to be heading towards the fringes. And so if you want to follow him, he's going to be among the meek and the lowly. But then the people that want to systematize and say he is always to be found here and only here, he's going to surprise them too somehow.
Noah, any thoughts as you joined? Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people today where I'm not sure what's being talked about.
Well, we're talking about Jesus. We're going through kind of some of the TLC's videos this week, checking out the 33rd minute. Mm-hmm. We just saw Ethan and Tayo, but it was mostly an Ethan monologue, where he was saying that the corner has gotten too Christian. He didn't really say that, but kind of. He was alluding to that point. And then and then Jesus was always this fringe character. So if we're Christians who are supposed to be like Jesus, shouldn't we be looking out towards the fringes in some way? Shouldn't we be trying to include more non-Christians in the content?
I think
what do you think?
Jesus' fringe is like a boomer take. Like it's the old
Eat
stuff.
shit, Ethan. Eat shit, dude. You're a boomer, bro. And guess what? Your poetry voice makes me feel a little weird, and I think it's because it's cool and good, but it does make me feel weird, bro, because it sounds like you're Southern, but also not. Anyway, Roast of Ethan, put it on the calendar, donate to my Ko-Fi. What's up, Michael? Long time no see. Good to have you here, brother. We are having a time. Sorry, Ethan, if that was too harsh, but I couldn't resist. Noah started it.
I do gotta say, it's very funny you picked out the Southern there. I messaged him because I heard one of his pieces, and I'm like, you sound a lot like this one artist I knew from like 10 years ago. And he's like, that's exactly who I was trying to imitate. I'll leave it at that. But
dang,
he was a very, very, I think it was like a Georgia or an Alabama boy or something.
Dang, so my suspicions were confirmed. Ethan is Southern false flag. His poetry is a joke on my culture and people. You're in redneck face, bro. Welcome, Chad.
Hey.
Chad, what's on your mind?
Hello.
That'll work.
No. Welcome back. I came to promote.
Have you watched any of the stream?
mcmo's Ko-Fi. About
sick.
2 seconds. Yeah. So yeah, I heard that poetry voice is weirdly cringe and a false flag for the South, and that
I think it's rage bait.
Specificity in Christ. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Am I off? Is there something wrong with my thing here?
You might have a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like you do. So, I don't know. Without further ado, I think we watch a little bit more of this Ethan video, because so far this has sparked the best conversation. Wouldn't you say, Skank? I think we ride with this a little longer.
Absolutely. Keep it running.
I want Jeff to jump in as well before I.
And Taya wants Jeff to jump in.
Retold, which I really appreciate.
Well, I have 2 half-baked thoughts, and who knows, maybe sticking the 2 half-baked thoughts together will produce something. But one of them just bubbled up from what you were saying there, Ethan, is it seemed like Jesus, the only time that he was hyper concerned with identity was when people were either saying they were with him as one of his disciples, or that they were with him more broadly as a member of one of the 12 tribes or 12 and a half, I don't know, tribes of Israel, right? He seemed to be most concerned with people who were caught up in those 2 identities, and he was actually most stern with the people who considered themselves or trying to be a part of those 2 groups. When it came to people who weren't identifying in those ways, it seemed like he was much more open, much more gentle, much more, what's the word that we use? Winsome. So that was one of my half-baked thoughts, that I don't know that goes anywhere. It's just an observation more than anything else. And the other one was, I have many people in my life who are kind of the ilk of what you were describing, Tayo, where you mentioned Rod, but Rod is not the only person, certainly. And I was having this discussion actually on New Year's Day this year with some of my family members, and it was about, well, I can go as far as, believing in Jesus for all of the reasons that, Bart Ehrman talks about in his book, and, Rhett McLaughlin and whoever else, of just like, he really is, I agree with the things that he taught. And like with people like the people that I know, it's just like they don't feel a need to go any deeper than that or find out why they do. They just know that they do. And they know that there are things about what Jesus teaches that resonate with them. Now, there are other things where you go through the Gospels or, the New Testament in the epistles where they would not agree with some of those teachings, or they wouldn't agree with how they've been traditionally interpreted or whatnot. But when it comes to the woo type things, particularly the resurrection and even throw the ascension into that lot, what I heard, a word that I heard you say, Tayo, was unwilling to believe in that part of Jesus. And that may be the case for some people. I don't know. To me, that becomes more of a heart issue. Is it that if I put myself in the place of somebody like my family member or family members, is it really that I'm unwilling to believe that, or is it that I really feel like I'm incapable of believing it? It's almost like I would love to believe that if I could, and I've heard people say this, but I just can't. We've heard Paul Vanderklay talk about you don't really get to decide what you believe and what you don't. So I think I would push back a little bit there and say it's not necessarily an unwillingness in the case.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose the host?
It's like it's us.
I guess we don't really get to decide who the host is and who isn't.
So anyway, as I was saying to you earlier, Noah, there's a very rich instance of comparison between Quiet and Fragile in Kojima's most recent works that I feel is worth exploring here. If Mo's going to leave us to our own ends, then we're just going to...
Oh, no. You're muted or something. I can't hear you.
Corn, brother.
Relax. Everybody relax. It'll be okay. I had to refresh my page. I've forgotten how to stream, boys. I've lost all of the habitus of seamless streaming. Can somebody summarize what Jeff said, and then can President Foxman give us the verdict on whether or not it is boomer-coded slop?
What Jeff was talking about?
Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up being not boomer slop. Thumbs down being complete boomer slop. Send it to the rubbish bin. I'm trying to get President Foxman on get some hot takes on the late night McMo stream.
But I can build off of what I was saying before a little bit about what I'm interpreting.
Go off, King.
The Jesus as fringe, I think, is a little incorrect. I think it's a lot of people who lived in a very subversive culture who are interested in making Jesus look like them. And so they want Jesus to identify as fringe. Whereas he was very accepting and open to loving people on the fringe. But Jesus's identity as fringe, I think, is wrong because it gives too much to the people that he was supposedly being subversive to.
All right, counterpoint. Jesus may not have been fringe, but John the Baptist was almost definitionally fringe. And Jesus said he was the best man to ever live. I mean, John would probably say...
But moving forward, he is the worst man to live.
Well, now we're talking. Now we're negating the negations. Hegel would be proud. No, but that is an interesting thing, right? That Jesus calls this other guy the greatest man born of woman.
And to clarify, I love the fringe. I love people on the fringe.
No, it's okay. We know how you feel about those weirdos out there. You don't have to, sweeten yourself up for the internet now.
But calling the king of the universe fringe is a little...
You just big league us and move on with your life. But we appreciate what you've given us.
No. Thanks for hanging with us, small timers.
I feel like
Chad, what you cooking on, brother?
I feel like the people that were willing who had a particular kind of faith were in a desperate enough position, and I think they were kind of they were fringe, and so I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense there or not. I don't know why I'm even talking about this. I should probably go. I gotta go.
All right. See you later, dude. Thanks for hanging.
Good to see you, Chad.
I think
Well-
it's all a matter of perspective, though, right? Are you looking at it through the eyes of the Roman Empire, or are you looking at it through the eyes of the kingdom of God? That's
a matter of perspective. Who would have thought? Clint could never be more wrong about his Calvinist takes. He believes in works righteousness, but that's a topic for another day. I won't let you be divisive on a mcmo stream, Clint.
Worthy of a reformed autist. Well done, Clint.
Clint's a master rage baiter. All right. Let's maybe move on to the next video. Who knew that they were getting so theological? I mean, Ethan basically complains about it being too Christian, but then he makes a mistake of, after complaining, saying that Jesus would have done differently. And then now the game is afoot. Now the game's afoot, brother.
Curious and bold take. Jesus agrees we should be less Christian.
That is a hot take, Ethan. Explain yourself, or Noah's going to call you a boomer again, and then we're all going to have our takes on and opinions on your poetry voice.
I think the thing I was hoping would exist already exists. The fact that both you and Ethan are doing this corner roundup, and I'm so happy right now.
We're kind of the sun and the moon of navel gazing at the moment.
How many layers are we going to get in of you guys reacting to one another?
I hope
over and over again.
I mean, I'm down to play the game. I consider all of my poke battles on Facebook still open-ended.
To really pull it off well.
I think me and Ethan are. I mean, he could make fun of my if his poetry voice is worthy of being made fun of. I've got hours and hours of music on Spotify that he could roast. So, feel free, Ethan, to get me back on that. But let's move ahead. This was a very, very, very interesting conversation. It was, in my opinion, my bet would be that it was completely indecipherable to a large majority, that it is or would be completely undecipherable to a large majority of TLC folks. And so it's interesting that it is on thislittlecorner.net. The host of the conversation is a man by the name of Daniel Gardner from the channel OG Rose. His interlocutor, a man that goes by the moniker Jockin. I believe his last name is Jockin, like jockin' on these hoes. First name Thomas Jockin, and his cultural history is Islamic. He has done a lot of reading of Aquinas and Aristotle. He's very smart. He's a very successful graphic designer. I've really enjoyed listening to him. But they are kind of doing a thing that a lot of people from TLC don't really like that much, I think, which is the kind of tag team monologue where it's like very long soliloquy followed by very long soliloquy followed by very long soliloquy. I get that that's not everybody's cup of tea. So, I mean, we will just go to the 33rd minute, but I wanted to give a bit of a lead up to this because I do think two things. One, it's probably most TLC people would have missed this if they even cared to see it in the first place. The second thing, though, is I'm really glad that it's a part of thislittlecorner.net. So I want to shed some attention eyeballs on it. I definitely recommend listening to the whole thing. Maybe not on double speed. Maybe that's not your style. I was able to do it, not to brag. I was able to do it. I enjoyed it on double speed, not to brag. So maybe you would too. But let's go ahead and go to the 33rd minute here. Also, OG, not in his normal formal attire. He is instead rocking the last freeze of the year fit with a warm hat and a jacket.
Oh no, he He told me he finally built out his man cave in the garage, and he is very happy.
That's a big moment in a man's life.
Mm-hmm. He really is. I'm happy for him.
Noah, do you have any type of man cave or dreams of a man cave?
This is the closest I've got. I had a shared office with Gundams all on my bookshelf.
You're on your way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's check this out. I need to share. Add to stage. Boom. Okay, 33rd minute.
State of virtue that allows you to have, as you said, Dan, you said so great on the net, on a current net, on a very recent net session. Memory is the reward of virtue. You don't get that. You only get to have memory with virtue, meaning you have a dispositional state to have memory come through you, and then you hold on to it. Then actually you can work with it. Otherwise, you don't even have it. It just passes through you. You don't do anything with it. And the point is, from that bringing you forth the word play of working with models and accounts. And by the way, even the note of the lightning, analogical reasoning was in Aristotle's exact point. What the term is used? How is a rainbow an echo? And there's a third one he uses, but basically, like, there's a completely unrelated category.
All right, I'm going to go back to the 33rd minute because he says a lot. I'm actually going to go a little bit before the 30 minute.
Please.
He covered a lot of ground just with that. This 33rd minute thing really works.
You know, I remember us having a net session many moons ago, and maybe it was 3 years ago, something like that. We actually had a situation about lack and basically the person, basically subjectivity of lack and objective quality of lack. We had a little kerfuffle not kerfuffle, but a discussion at the end of net. And actually, I said at the time, I was like, listen, the person matters. The person absolutely matters, because at this point, it's your dispositional state of virtue that allows you to have, as you said, Dan, you said so great on the net, on a current net, on a very recent net session. Memory is the reward of virtue. You don't get that. You only get to have memory.
Memory is the reward of virtue. What on earth do we think he means by that? I have an idea, but I want to see what you guys think.
I'm happy to rip, but I'll let Noah go first.
I was going to ask you, what, because you've seen this before, what is the context of the memory? Is that talking about the memory of the person in the future, the echoes of their life, or is it their own memory of being in virtue? I'm still a little lost on that.
That's a good question. I think that the argument is something like, so memory is the reward of virtue. So in some respects, he does mean that if you've not been virtuous, the memory of those events will not be worth remembering, right? That you'll wish you could, you'll wish you could forget. You know, that's all. Honestly, that's like a kind of simple litmus test for have you sinned or not. Is like, do you enjoy the memory of you doing X or Y, or do you not enjoy that memory? That's kind of a simple, like, is your conscience functioning at all? Conscience. Is your conscience functioning at all? Question. But then I think he also means something greater, which is in some way in which memory is required for virtue. That there's almost this kind of double reciprocal relationship where to be virtuous means to kind of be the type of person whose memories form them towards the good, if that makes sense.
You have to draw on something in order to be able to know what to do in the moment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
With virtue, meaning you have a dispositional state to.
There's also I think he either brings this up right before this or right after this, but Thomas's father had recently passed away, and so he's been kind of like processing a lot of that stuff. And he kind of brings up the way in which there were new insights about his father that he only gained and only could have gained after his father's passing. And it's because, in what I'm guessing, in his estimation, his relationship with his father was virtuous. And so the reward of the virtue that went into that relationship now makes the memory kind of a reward in some way. Does that make sense? I think that's kind of what he's saying.
Well, often
So, like,
the
our
virtuous thing
positive
is
memory of a person who's passed is the fruit of them living a virtuous life.
Yeah, that almost seems like a even different or another option. But in the meantime,
yeah, that's the other sense.
Michael, welcome.
Oh my goodness.
What's
Look
up,
at this.
gents?
How we doing?
Long time no see, bro. Your voice still working?
I think so. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, sounds as good as ever.
Good,
Have you
good,
been following along, or did you just jump in for the hangs?
I jumped in at first, and then I shot back through and got enough context to keep up.
Okay, sick. We're kind of doing a week in review, kind of reviewing some of the stuff that's been popping last week, and then we were just hitting on this, which the larger context is basically the thing that they're trying to figure out is essentially to what extent is Deleuze helpful, and is there any answer to Deleuze? Is there any way to kind of they get to the answer in response to Deleuze is essentially analogy. That analogous reasoning is the kind of result of an intellectual virtue or a habitus that is formed kind of contrary to, or perpendicular, you might say, to Daniel's ideas of like closed systems and open systems and all of that stuff. So that it's very complex, but it's also very useful, and it's at the heart of the philosophical possibility of pluralism. And not only that, but we've also got Ethan.
Oh.
Ethan, can I get a little bit of proof of life for you, brother?
Howdy.
Give me-
Howdy.
There he is.
You
Okay,
cigar
good
it up
deal.
right now?
I kind of want to keep a comment up in case we've got a. I couldn't tell if that was actually Ethan. Ethan, read some poetry, so I know it's you.
Nah.
Okay, that is something you would do. So I do think it is.
12 hours too early.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I saw a little bit of face there. That'll do. All right, should I play more, or do we have thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think like if you're talking about like memory is the reward of virtue, and again, like I'm like dealing with very small context here, but in the simple fact that like part of virtue, like we're talking about virtues, we're talking about excellencies inside the human being, or sub-excellencies that will guide you towards living an excellent human life. And so, like, really, they're intellectual virtues. They're things that you do with your mind well that allow your mind to work well. And so, if you're gonna remember things well, that requires you to have a well-ordered mind that can, I hate to use computer terms, but like can like grasp and organize and remember things. And part of memory is also putting an event within a context so that you understand the meaning of the event.
Yep. Okay, so quick straw poll. Do we want to go 3 minutes back to the 30-minute mark to get the 3 minutes before that? Or do we want to let it play to like 36, 37? What do we think? Straw poll. Feel free to comment.
I think go forward. I think they found like a solid like starting point at like minute 32. So
okay.
Memory come through you, and then you hold on to it. Then actually you can work with it. Otherwise, you don't even have that. Bringing you forth the word play of working with models and accounts. And by the way, even the note of the lightning, analogical reasoning was in Aristotle's exact point. What the term is used? How is a rainbow an echo? And there's a third one he uses, but basically, like there's a completely unrelated categories of a phenomenon. How do they? Aristotle says there's an analogical cause for them. Repercussion. It's motion, because motion is analogical by nature. It's abstract. It's an analogical concept from the very beginning. So I just see that in the same category. Basically, what I'm getting at activities, processes, relations, which is really what those are. Those are just really more materialistic accounts of relation via taxes, right? Or like position, sequence, whatever. It's still a relation. So relation can also have an analogical relation with relation. So relation to relation, right? Gives you a new gives a reality. That's actually a much more contemporary account, because also like besides lightning, you can say fire, right? Because fire was considered a thing, not a process. We in our ontology see fire as a process. not a suboptimum matter like in the past, like in ancient times. So that's how you would address that. Like, what's fire? Fire is activity. It's activity of exothermal and material, and all this stuff, right? But nevertheless, fire does have reality. We can see it. It has effects. It has all these things. So it's kind of pushing on this point really hard. Is ultimately it really pushes hard. What is a thing? What is a substance?
Yeah.
That's actually that is the great ontological question, which then relates to this idea of freedom, memory, and the human person. I'll put this all back to you now.
No, I'll tell you. So,
What's OG going to
few
do with
things.
it?
First, is memory univocal? Because the argument could be that memory is always in the present. So you're laying layers upon one another. And so what that does is, what's very interesting is in memory, you can have this possibility of apprehension, which is the term I use that I'm overlaying with that analogical reasoning, that grasping of the fifth, right? What's very interesting about memory is memory is not in the past. Memory is always in the present of the past. And so you have a multiplicity in the act of memory that actually brings forth something new. If you do it correctly, it's not merely recollection. Again, you could say for Deleuze, a very helpful distinction is between, as we've talked about, recollection and memory. Not all memory is recollection. That there is this memory that is more like bringing multiple processes, the present perception, with memory, and there's an overlay that occurs, and then lightning bolt, and then analogy that can occur, right? So there's something about memory that actually brings you into a space, if you will, of multiplicity. And again, if analogy is actually afforded by multiplicity, not collapse multiplicity, then anything we do in our lives that brings multiplicity together and we hold it together without collapsing it, which only the subject can do, that is the condition in which analogy occurs, which is an emergence that doesn't collapse the layers, but is only possible because of them. And then that changes the meaning before. Now you have a new multiplicity, and then on and on and on and on, right? And so to me...
Pause. How do we feel?
It sounds like he's talking about forming narratives, basically. At least that's
Marger thinks we're lobotomizing ourselves. You make some content, Marcher, and we'll include it on the TLC roundup. You knucklehead. Also,
to be fair, that's pretty rich coming from Marcher.
Shouts out to to Chris Howard, the man, the myth, the legend himself. No stroke gonna hold him back. He's still streaming every morning. Catch him while you can, folks. This is a legend. Chris Howard, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your service.
I thought that was Sartori until I heard the voice. Good to see you, Michael.
Good to see you.
That's actually just Sartori doing his poetry voice.
No. Now I'm the Ohio Michael. He's got San Antonio locked down.
Ohio Mike.
Oh, was there a throwdown we didn't hear about and you got exiled? Is that what happened?
That's true. Yeah, that's how it happened.
I do have two of the nicest beards on one stream. This is great. You guys are the heir apparents to Mark from Tbilisi and Barrett. You know, you guys are the beards in waiting.
So I was curious about. I went on a rabbit hole. I don't know, this is probably a year or something ago, about the relation of the memra in Aramaic to all variations of the notion of memory, remembrance, all of that, because it's steeped. I mean, memory language is steeped deeply within the Orthodox sayings and traditions and services that we have. And it's hard to not see a through line of that Arabic word and how it proliferates through even deeply into these English words, even though we would the Greeks would grab onto logos, right, or the English into word, but I think that plays all into this. I mean, it's hard for my ears to not hear a lot of what you're talking about, what's being, especially what you're getting at, mcmo, and not hear the way in which the agios are raised up, right, as a result of their, we're saying virtues, but it's like, okay, well, these virtues are by means of what in Aramaic they were calling memra.
What a synchronicity. I'm sure there's a connection there. Unfortunately for me, philology will just never be interesting to me. I can't. It doesn't. It's
Here,
like,
let me make it real easy.
I know, like, some people, for some people, philology, like, is just like, honestly, it's probably like Steely Dan. Like,
screw the philology. It's just
philology is like Stevie Dan, because, like, I know, like, all of the old men I respect really care about it, but I just can't get it. I try. There's like a couple. There's a couple of cool philology things that I like. I mean, that one might be on the list though, because it does make that easy connection between memory and virtue, and it's just like one ancient language away. And so I see the appeal, but you got to help me out, because I could not care less about any of that shit.
All right. So look, here's Christ, Alpha and Omega. All right. So constantly throughout the Hebrew Bible, we have these examples of encountering the Lord, right? And this is often described as the word, right? Memra, right? That's the word that they're using. So instead of logos in Aramaic, you're getting word. This is like pre-Greek. So it's like, oh, okay, well, the logos of logos, right? So the King of Kings, right? Encountering the Lord himself is where virtues, and even how to identify what would be virtuous, would even come from. And so the more you bear that image, the more you would be remembered, which is how you are also brought up into Christ.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I'm also reminded that for old Tommy Jockey here, he really is wanting to kind of hone in on, like, Aristotelian ethics in particular, or he takes for granted most of that. He comes from a kind of Islamic background, but also Rod Hare is in the crowd. So this was the original video we were talking about. Ethan was talking about. So now we've gone full circle. So I think it's time we set. If you want to think more about virtue and memory, by all means, go to thislittlecorner.net, sort by recent, and scroll down a few until you see OG Rose, Root and Rhizome. And so now we can go to the next one, which by...
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I want to make the virtue memory. I want to dumb it down.
Okay, dumb it down. You've got exactly one chance to dumb it down for Rod Hare. And Rod, if he dumbs it down enough, you let us know. And if not, I'll boot him. I'll boot Ethan if it's not dumb enough.
He's in the dunk tank now.
Imagine you're a mouse and you've never been courageous in your entire life. And imagine that you need to be courageous and a speedy hare comes zooming up to you and tells you, the little mouse, it says, remember the lion. Remember the roar of the lion. Remember the courage of the lion. Go be a courageous lion. And then the little mouse roars from the memory of the lion's roar and practices courage.
It didn't end where I thought it was going to end.
Yeah, that was dumb as shit, dude. You stay. You're staying. That was dumb as shit. You're staying, bro. But unfortunately,
get poetry tonight.
We are going to move on to the next video, which is Mark S. One of the House of Woo. Really, I think he was an honorary. I mean, he was an honorary co-host of the House of Woo. Mark S. was, and he did this video, Masterpieces of Religious Verse. Ephraim the Syrian. Did any of you guys watch this one?
No, I did not. Although I'd like to. I love Ephraim. I caught my IRL book club into reading Ephraim recently.
Looks like he had some good folks in the hive mind, Neil and Ron. So Neil and Ron saw it. All right, we're at 32:46. I'm guessing Noah, Michael, Ethan, you guys didn't see this one?
Nope, I haven't seen this one.
Oh, Ethan, you're lucky. You're lucky, dude. You're lucky that story was good, bro. It might have been a little too good. All right, we got to check this.
I'm Irish. I'm always lucky.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. All right, let's check this out. First off, what is Neil saying in the comment of this other video? Had this image once of every human life as a stained glass window, God shining through. We're not the light, but we allow the glory of the light to pass through us. Okay?
You know, there's like, I've tried to find, he still has a bunch of poems that have never even been translated into English. And
what's up,
that's
Chemo?
so amazing to me. I feel like, why not? So anyway, I think post what on your page, Ron? I don't know. I posted it on Twitter.
I mean, this is great content, right? Only in the TLC can you get a little bit of Aristotelian virtue ethics, and then whatever the HECK is going on with this stream.
Ephraim was almost flexing like he likes to get throttled, you know.
What?
Those desert aesthetics, man.
All right, forward or back? This full video is 41 minutes. I need somebody to give me a minute mark. 3, 2, 1, Noah.
12.
All right. See if we can get a little bit more context.
Which quitted their nests and fled to the caves, and the net have they taken them. Wow. I don't know if that is actually a sign of the devil taking children to hell, because in the next line it says, after the manner of wax that melts before the fire, thus melted and dissolved the bodies of my sons before the heat and the drought of my strongholds. And instead of streams of milk that used to flow for my sons and my little ones, milk fails the sucklings and water the weaned children. The suckling falls from its mother and gasps, because it cannot suck. Nor can she give suck. They breathe out their spirit and die.
That was the most pondering I've ever heard any person make in my life. Somebody, anybody, tell me what the hell we're watching or what we're listening to. Does anybody have a clue? Who's running this show?
All I can say is, like, you know, folks melting like wax. That's an image I've heard before of people's courage failing them. Also, if you read Ephraim's Hymns on Paradise, specifically the first one, you might come away with the impression that he's kind of an infernalist. I don't know. It's not hard to come away with that conclusion. I haven't finished them yet, though, so who knows? Maybe he turns it around at the end.
All right. Well, if you want to ponder some poetry with Mark S., please do. You can go to thislittlecorner.net, sort by most recent, scroll down a little bit till you see Ephraim. All right, good deal. We're cruising. I think, how many have we done so far? Just imagine if these were like rank ordered for salience. You know, we're just kind of playing the lottery here. So that was 6. So this one is number 7. Neil, feudalism is wrong. Or feudalism is the wrong analogy. We were just listening to analogous reasoning in that OG Rose clip. Now we're going to listen to Neil. Let's see. I can't remember if I saw this or not.
Feudalism would imply that we're trapped into a specific satrap. Is that how you pronounce that word?
This one's only 5 minutes, so I'm going to play it at 1.5 speed.
Specific principality, like trapped within Facebook, trapped within Instagram, trapped within YouTube or TikTok. But it's not really like that. Really, the internet over the last 10 years has been focused on self-promotion. Build a brand, surf across all the platforms.
Donate to my Ko-Fi.
Is it a little quiet?
Freely roam across the
Yes.
land. Now we can roam, but there's a toll to pay. We have to pay the tax to the established landowners. I think back.
Can you hear any of the words?
Internet, like 90s, early 2000s, when I was growing up, coming of
It's
age,
really faint,
you
I can
could
hear.
shop in a completely empty place. Your own domain. You could put up a flag.
Really? It's super quiet?
Search engines and
Yeah.
Okay, I'll reshare. Maybe I switched it too many times. I mean, imagine how smooth this would go if I could afford Ko-Fi, or if I could afford my Ko-Fi. I can't even afford to receive money these days. Let's see, where was I? Feudalism is the wrong analogy. That's right. All right. Shall I start over?
Feudalism would imply that we're trapped into
I
a
will.
specific satrap.
Like that. Really, the internet over the last 10 years has been focused on.
Oh, mcmo, we can't hear you.
Feudalism would imply that we're trapped into a specific satrap. Is that how you pronounce that word, satrap? But that we would be trapped in a specific principality, like trapped within Facebook, trapped within Instagram, trapped within YouTube or TikTok. But it's not really like that. Really, the internet over the last 10 years has been focused on self-promotion. Build a brand, surf across all the platforms. I think the better analogy is that we're past the point of the Old West where we could just freely roam across the lands. Now we can roam, but there's a toll to pay. We have to pay the tax to the established landowners. I think back to the early mainstream internet, like 90s, early 2000s, when I was growing up, coming of age, and you could truly set up shop in a completely empty place, your own domain. You could put up a flag or indicator and register with search engines, and soon enough, people would stop over in a desert crossing on the way to the West. The American Old West is regarded to have ended in the 1890s, but there's a few different ways in which it's regarded to have ended. A big one, which is technological, but more important, physical, was barbed wire. So barbed wire was invented in the 1870s, but it became pretty universal by the 1890s. Before a certain point, cattle could just freely roam across the land. And I want to make a case for an analogy that I think will be pretty hard to get across, which is the physical land, like the fruit of the land. That's the attention economy in the age of the internet. The reason I think it's a tough analogy to make is that I'm trying to take something physical like the land and then imagine it as this abstract reality. But in the 90s and the early 2000s, human attention was largely free roaming. Like there were ecosystems. You did have Yahoo, you had Yahoo Mail. I remember Hotmail. You also had things like AOL Instant Messenger, but they weren't really closed off systems. You always felt like if a better product came along that you would jump ship almost immediately. But that doesn't feel like it's the case anymore. Now maybe it's because I'm getting old, and certainly that's true, but it doesn't feel like to me that we could just jump from, for example, Discord over to something else, or YouTube for that matter. So that's the most immediate thing that comes to my mind, the end of the Old West. But tied to that is the end of the frontier. And there was a census in 1890 where the US government basically said there is no frontier, and they defined the frontier as that which separated settlements, settled land from unsettled land. So what's the equivalent of the frontier in internet land? Think back to the early 90s where you had Usenet forums, but you had all these new bastions of knowledge like popping up all over the internet. Back then it was still possible to post truly original content on the internet, like stuff on the internet that no one had done before, like woodworking, you got it. Survival out in the wilderness video, no one's done it before. And I think that era of the internet is basically over. And the reason I think that is because I think that's what AI does. What AI does is it maps all domains of human virtual experience and knowledge, but it's all virtual. So AI creates this abstract level of noise between videos, articles, just a generalized sense of if you need something and you just need it this deep, AI is going to do it just fine. It doesn't create anything that truly sparkles in the darkness, like nothing that really raises the elevation of being like, oh, this is novel and excellent. But it does create this generalized background hum that we only need people when it's something very specific. Because if I ask AI, for example, about Grim Grizz, I'm going to have a way better understanding of Grim Grizz than the AI will, even if Gemini can watch every single Grim Grizz video. If you think of a fisherman that's used to catching a very specific fish, and then you got AI, which is the trawler that's just scraping up everything on the ocean surface. But in this case, it's the surface of the land. It's taking all that stuff and it's digesting it for some value, some way, shape, or form, but it misses a lot, and it only goes surface deep. So what is left then in the virtual realm if the AI is extracting every single thing we do? I already kind of alluded to it. I think it's two things, actually. It's the small and specific. That's one category, like a specific person or a specific channel. But also it's what's beneath the surface, the depth of knowledge, like the hunks of gold that are there in the Old West waiting to be discovered. Because after 1890, turns out there was still a tremendous amount of unexpected value in the West, but it was all just under the surface. Because the value of the land wasn't just the value of the land. It was the combination of technology, people, all these things working together to go, well, far more in depth than they would have been able to otherwise. And I believe this is the future of the internet, at least a constructive future, because AI will be of little value to the specifics of a person's existence. Like, how do I address this particular situation with this particular person? It's in the specifics and in the physical, obviously, where human life is really going to shine. It's in the person that we're going to find our humanity. Thank you, Jesus. And also Luke Thompson. And then with the person and the small group working together in common cause, that's the underneath. Those are the layers of unexpected, emergent properties, one could say. Not emergent properties of knowledge. Well, I guess related to that. Emergent properties of people together.
I think you're muted.
Ah, sorry. Shoulder Surf, thank you for getting me to 10 likes. I hadn't even looked at the likes. So it's also good, that's good data for me to know. But, okay, what do we make of Neil's argument that feudalism is bad? What did he get right? What did he get wrong? If you can, stick to just saying what he got right and what he got wrong. Dealer's choice, whoever wants to give Neil his critique.
Oh, I can say something. I think one thing that I think he points out that, and he does as well, of how digging in deep or personalism are two ways in which you can provide something unique on the internet that can't be seen anywhere else. But I think the framing of the old internet, and maybe this is an incorrect understanding of what Neil is saying, but it sounded almost like he's talking about the propositional, like people were going around the internet purely for the propositional. I'm not sure if that's completely right. I think we've always been looking for the same things. It's just that the easy stuff has been filled, and so now you kind of have to dig deeper or find out what is unique in order to find a spot.
All right, I like that. Anybody else?
A thing I think you got right was trying to redirect what a principality is.
All right, say more.
There's a sense in which, what X has become has distinctives to it, and the outgroups of it, and the principles that it's around. But largely speaking, they transcend these public squares and are more traditionally like the way that you would think of a principle, and they are both visible and invisible.
Okay. Matt, Ethan, anything? Well, not all at once,
Sorry, I was taking a leak and only halfway heard it, so I got nothing.
You know what's interesting to me is, my main takeaway from this is that Neil's getting better at making videos. Like, it was a very choppy and concise 533, and I mean that in the best way. Like,
But what did he get right and wrong?
Well, let me think. I think he is a little bit wrong about all the ways that the internet was being used. Kind of to Noah's point, like I think that there is and was, but I also do think that he's right that there was a little bit of a, maybe I would want to say that it's chalked up to the main users, right? Like the Gen X kids are different than the millennial kids, and who are different than the Gen Z kids in kind of how they use the internet to this day. So I think that would probably be a place where I would want to maybe see to what extent Neil agrees with me or that we disagree. But I'll also say, although Neil is my friend, I would not have put this in the top 5 most salient videos of the week. I would, if we had the magical website / subscription model that pays my Ko-Fi bills that I laid out earlier in the stream, then I would probably give this not a lot of votes down, but certainly not a lot of votes up either. Even though I did think, like I said, the content, the virtue of excellence as it comes to making videos, Neil is getting better. Let it be known. He is getting good at making quick little videos like this. If we could get Noah to make 5-minute hitters like this, President Foxman is gone from us off the status rocket into fame and fortune probably. But I think we should maybe watch one more, and I think I'll switch. It is actually Shoulder Surf. It's Jeff, so we'll go to Jeff's stream. This is his one from 2 days ago. So what would that have been? Saturday? Yeah. Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday. So this was the Saturday the Saturday C.S. Lewis stream. Guys, it's been so long since I've streamed, I'm losing my voice. And it's only been almost 2 hours, and I'm already losing my voice. Can you believe that? I'm out of practice, folks. I'm out of practice. My habitus out of whack.
For shame.
Drop a little money in that Ko-Fi. Get my life a little bit more stable. Let me be in a comfortable place to stream for all of my dear fans.
Thought, i.e., if you say it is useless to pray because providence already knows what is best and will certainly do it, I think he covers this in Miracles as well, then why is it not equally useless and for the same reason to try to alter the course of events in any way whatever? To ask for the salt or book your seat.
You need some salt? I got some.
To ask
some
for
salt.
the
I got
salt
some salt
or
right
book your
here,
seat in a
Jeff.
train. However, in spite of this discomfort, I cannot help joining you in your daydream of a Parkmore walk. This is partly because I am now back in bed, nothing serious, just a slight re-rise of temperature owing to having tried to get up.
Okay, that's enough of C.S. Lewis's self-diagnostics. Welcome, General. I'm sorry for my leave of absence. I apologize for the lack of branding.
Damn sunglasses.
Yeah, you
Well,
don't look as cool as I do.
I just jumped on to be like, it is cruel and unusual punishment to sit there and talk for 5 minutes while you're showing that still of Neil tweaking his own nipples.
I didn't even notice.
I know, and it was cruel and unusual punishment for us. So are you doing some kind of like ransomware? Like, I'll quit making you witness horrible things as soon as you ding my Ko-Fi? Is that what
No, man, I'm doing my best. I'm trying hard. That's the sad thing about it, Grim. I'm trying hard, and this is the quality. I'm so out of practice. I'm like Michael Jordan playing baseball. This is horrible. I'm letting down the whole quarter.
And okay, and then also you're crying about how tired your voice is, and there's like
Hey, can we
four
watch
other
the old,
people
just
just
the old
waiting to
mcmo?
say a
Can we-
damn
just
thing.
a snippet of the last mcmo stream? Did you do that earlier?
Yeah, what was the last McMo stream? I don't think
Anyway,
it
love
was
you
fun.
guys. Bye.
All right, bye. Thanks for hanging, General Grizz. What am I looking for?
In chat is saying Nipplegate.
Nipplegate. Damn, I didn't even mean to do that to you, Neil. I did you dirty. I set you up. Ugh. I gotta be more serpent-like and Gosh, I hate being so genuine and corny. I need to be cool. All right, the last stream was 11 months ago. Tunji was there, apparently. All right, 33
Wait,
minutes.
what? Your last stream was 11 months ago?
Yeah, can you believe it?
There's no way.
That's what it says on YouTube.
Right? Did you look at the live tab?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I
Like,
could
I
have.
distinctly remember like streaming with you in like September.
That was on Nick's channel. Oh wait, no, 6 months ago. Never mind. 6 months ago. No, I stand corrected. I stand corrected,
there's
folks.
one more recent than that one.
That's this one. All right. Oh, that intro. I should have played this at the beginning.
It's a secret, but it's an open secret.
That makes me feel nostalgic.
It's plain to all, but only if you
We'll end on that.
understand.
We'll end on that. We can't
Because maybe this conversation.
Oh, I remember that. I was about to say accidentally. I think I made fun of one of these guys.
Smoothness that they locate, a collective consciousness, and they kind of
The beat's good, though.
move in that direction, and then everyone just goop goop. You're like the bowling ball in the gutter, and I keep using this metaphor over and over again. You're in this gutter. It's smooth. The ball goes, seems to be going in the right direction. It's really close to the pins, but it moves. And I think actually,
Look at how fast that chat was moving, folks.
We naturally head toward the smooth. Now, of course, if you take on friction before you're
Some of
ready,
the same
it may
people
destroy you,
were there that are here.
And I do think there's a massive difference between a certain smoothness, a certain fluidity, a certain elegance of the beautiful that strikes and then leaves, meaning it's not in your control, it has grace, versus a smoothness that you can orchestrate toward a good.
All right, I got to be
That
honest.
seems to be very different. Like
When I would listen back to these, I would never listen to the part where I made music. So this is kind of weird to hear, to be honest. Let's see what else is going on. I think Tunji joined. Oh wait, it's me and Henry. Me and Hen Dog.
Someone's like, "Yep, I'm a fundamentalist."
Oh.
And like, I don't know. Whenever people use the term,
It's kind of embarrassing to hear yourself talk on live internet. Not gonna lie.
basically. But yeah, that was one of the questions that I asked. I got up on stage at the Midwest Jury was something like "Steelman the fundamentalist." But wouldn't you know it, I was outside of the auditorium when that happened, and so I don't even know really what they said. I don't remember. I don't even remember which session it was. Which we missed you, dude. I wish you would have come. That would have been a lot of fun to meet you in person.
I would have loved to, and I was so.
Well, looky there.
You cut out again. I think you muted yourself.
Unmute.
You're still muted on StreamYard. There you go.
I mean, Henry's got kind of a cool pose there, just throwing elbows.
It's unmuted, but now it's just broken.
Nobody. All right. I'm on my phone now. Nobody cuss. Okay. How am I going to do? What I was saying while my microphone wasn't working is that you could tell by the clip I couldn't remember stuff from Midwestuary, and that's because I'm a man of low virtue. I have vices. I'm a man of vice, so you need to pray for me. But I feel like I missed a lot of comments in the meantime, and a Ko-Fi donation from the general himself. Thank you very much, Grizz. You are a generous general. What did I miss? Can somebody please help me? I can't stream anymore. I've lost the ability to stream well. Can one of you guys please throw me a mother freaking lifeboat or some sort of hand in these choppy waters so that I'm not out here drowning in the open internet with all of these ship captains covering their chin and snickering to themselves? What the hell's going on? Please help.
Nah.
So earlier, Matt brought up this really good point about how Quiet and Fragile are very similar as characters. But in the games of Death Stranding and Metal Gear Solid
Go
V,
ahead. Go
the
ahead.
Phantom Pain.
And I don't even have any branding. That's the worst part. And so it's really just a battle of, are you guys going to make me sit in silence? Are you going to make me host while I've been doing this for 2 hours? From literally yesterday, I did this 0 hours. I just so you guys know. This was something yesterday I did 0 hours. Today, 2 hours already. We just hit it, 2 hours. And now these people who, some of you guys call yourselves my friends. Some of you more so acquaintances, that's fine. But regardless, why are you guys all bullying me?
Wait, can you tell us who are your friends and who are your acquaintances? Because now I'm really curious.
That's right. We want power rankings now.
So now I can't hear you. You can't hear me.
Oh,
This is
okay,
all.
all right.
Oh, we can hear you.
The
All
only
right,
person I
well-
can hear is Michael.
Well, while McMo is figuring out, I got a bone to throw.
Was I really muted this whole time? God, this is.
We heard you.
Oh my goodness! I thought you guys were bullying me. I thought that I was getting cyberbullied by all of you just sitting in silence and ignoring me. And I was crying out that someone would help and someone would just take over and start talking and say something and help me because I haven't been streaming for like 2 years, it feels like. And some of you guys call yourselves my friends, and I'm out in the open ocean drowning, and you won't even like ask a question.
No, we heard.
Please, someone take over.
Oh,
We heard
we're
you. I don't think
trying,
you
but
heard
we
us.
we just have to keep hearing you regale about this. All right, here's a bone I can throw. We were talking about memory earlier and in relation to virtue. Okay, but there's the other direction too that I think is interesting. So, Lord of Spirits, Father Stephen DeYoung, for anybody that gives any of that time or attention. It's the creation of let's say something like demon gods, right? And so I've got this memory of Father Stephen DeYoung saying something like, it's not how they died, but how they lived, right? That would like create this big evil thing that gets passed down. Okay, so we could think of like Tiny Mustache Man as an example, right? And so there are properties that and it's grown to this encompassing thing. We don't really know a lot about, like most of us don't really know a lot about this guy's individual life. And so you could think about like this human being's personhood in a way has really been wiped out, and it's only the evil around it that has now been passed down, and its body has grown. And that's another way to understand, at least for Father Stephen DeYoung's position, kind of all of these other like this Greek or Roman pagan pantheon, right? So all of the individual instances of this, like each one of those things being a passion. Well, the individualism, the person is gone, but the property of the daimon has continued and grown, even though it continues to name. So there's like you could see by virtue. Okay, I remember my grandma being a saint or something. And so here's Bonnie, my grandma, who's a saint. And so it's specific, it's individual, it's this person's face, it's this person's properties. But in the other direction, with the lack of virtue, is just the properties of whatever evil was brought about, and the individuality is sort of wiped out.
All right. Kind of curious. It's also hard to judge between. I think all your points are very fair, but it's hard to judge between an individual who lives a peasant level or whatever level like your grandma lived life versus somebody who lives a larger than life of a national leader. Like to a certain extent, like when you are somebody who receives that much attention, even if you're trying to be a virtuous king like David, can you really be known? Can your life really be distilled into a singular story of virtue, even if you tried, just because you have so many different folks looking at you?
Well, so I mean, David's a really interesting example because it's a mixed bag, right? And so here we actually get a really honest take compared to the god kings of antiquity, in contrast, where it's just like all evil or god king good something, our fearless leader, and David actually gets a complicated recounting.
Well, I also am thinking about the saints and how this fits in, because it seems to, but at the same time, a lot of the saints have the larger than life, the personal has kind of lost hold. Like who was Saint Christopher as a person is not super clear, but the story is held true. But then you also have a little bit of like some of the other saints. It's a little bit more like, I think I have a better idea of who Saint Francis was than I would of Saint Christopher of Assisi. But yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm poking around at. I mean, right on its face, we go, okay, here's a particular name, maybe there's a particular place. I also, like, my patron saint within the Orthodox Church is like the Archangel Michael, right? Well, boy, is that ambiguous, right? Like there are distinctives, right? But it's not exactly like my wife, who has Saint Matrona of Thessaloniki. It's very different, right? There's a sameness, but there's a lot of things that aren't the same about that. And so, you go, oh, gosh, why did they keep passing the name down Michael? Why did it have these properties? Like, what happened to the Hebrews that this became an important name? And so, I don't know exactly what to do with that, but yeah, I think it obviously is pointing us in some way to how we regard memory, for sure. Also, hi, Brian.
Hello.
Yep. Welcome, Brian. I was
Welcome,
about to
Brian.
just pause the convo and say, welcome, sir. What's on your mind? Which one of
Save
the
the
videos?
stream.
Save the stream.
I
But
can't,
also,
man. But I'm sorry. Like Michael, what you were saying sounded important, but I feel like I was disconnected from maybe the beginning of it, but maybe just generally disconnected. Like I don't know, like the importance of the memory and the, I don't know. Anyway, the particularities of people. Like I don't know. I wasn't getting. But I wanted to show and tell, if that's okay. Totally. But so I picked up my daughter because my wife was sick, and they have like a free book box where the pickup is that nobody else raids. But I was like getting greedy. I grabbed like 20 things. But one thing that I found, I didn't know that they made such a cool thing, but I don't know if y'all can read that. Is that readable? How do I flip the
Gaston
screen?
from
No,
Beauty and
it's
the
good
Beast
for
is
us.
laying pipe. What is this?
No, that's
We can see
gross.
it. We can see it.
Gaston laid
Like there's a
goes crazy.
there's a crazy character and it's like the most Louisianan thing I've ever heard of, and it's this alligator,
All right.
and it actually is its provenance is from the East Baton Rouge Public Library. It was like discard pile thing, and it's like a poem about an alligator that makes his way through. Like they're bringing this thing, and
That's awesome.
it's so cool. And then at the end, like Gaston was a rigger. He'd proven his worth. He returned to the swampland, the place of his birth. Like it's the coolest book.
Well,
think
guys,
could've
I
ever
gotta
found.
say, that sounds very cool. While that was happening, some black bears just crossed the street, across the street from us, and my dog went absolutely crazy. I almost, oof, well, he wants to attack the black bear so bad, and so he's barking this late at night. Oof, that was. I feel like Gaston, because I had to pick up my dog, throw him inside the house, and ooh, now I'm returning back to the swamp with you lot.
Oh man.
But
yeah,
that sounded like a cool story, man. Anybody else got any thoughts?
I like free
No,
books. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's a really cool book.
and I feel like there's a lot of things getting discarded, and I don't know, like if you pay attention, you can find some gems.
mcmo, you reminded me of we just went camping this last weekend. Go ahead.
I saw that Neil was on there, and I wanted to tweet about the book, but I also wanted to use a certain word that I've never heard used derogatorily, but like it's I don't know, like I don't know if you get docked or whatever. If like I don't know, sorry. I wanted to ask about a derogatory.
Don't bring up derogatory terms on
Yeah.
the mcmo stream. I've got
Does
enough
Neil know
going
what I'm
against
talking
me in
about?
that regards. If you
I
want
don't
to talk
know.
about derogatory stuff with Neil, I suggest you hunt him down
Yeah.
in private.
All right.
He'll give you all you want.
You
in
should
terms of
talk with
derogatory
Ethan about
things.
derogatory terms for Southerners. If he's already redneck facing, he's your guy.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Noah, tell us about you guys' camping trip, because I was wondering when would be the good time to bring it up, and you just are almost about to bring it up. And so, yeah, and Matt did bring it up with the mead thing, or the hooch, whatever he's chugging on over there in the upper Northwest. But yeah, you regale us of your the experiment you guys did.
Well, I was just gonna say, you were talking about the black bears, and we didn't practice the best food security while we were there. And in the middle of the night, me and my wife were in a tent, and we could hear something like kind of rustle against our tent, and heard something moving, and it had this horrible like clicking sound. It sounded like a monster in a movie. It had this like, I don't know, strange sound, and you could tell it getting into all the food. And I think it ate a bunch of Nutty Buddies. I don't know if you've eaten those before. And a lot of potato salad. Looking at it, looks like some sort of wild cat.
Were you asking me if I've eaten that before because you think I might have because of my similarity to a bear, or do you think I might not have because of my down south obscure culture? What were you trying to clarify there, Mr. President?
Hey, I don't know what snacks that you prefer, okay, or are familiar with.
Safe to assume I like the same snacks as the bear, Noah. Keep going.
Well, it wasn't a bear. That was the thing. It was a wildcat of some sort.
Ooh, now we're talking. Okay, I can see myself more.
So it ate all the potato salad except for the pickles. It spat all of them out.
Oh, actually, I don't really like potato salad. I must admit.
Yeah.
So wait, okay.
So yeah, you got to practice good food security in the wilderness, for sure, for sure. But to set up? Give us a little bit more context. Why were you guys out camping? Why did you bring your wife? That's a good question, actually. Maybe Skank, you go first. Give a little bit of the context so that Noah has some time to think about why he brought his wife to that group of crazies in the wilderness.
I mean, firstly, we're Pacific Northwesterners. Why wouldn't you camp? This is what we do, sir. But specifically, the broader Pacific Northwest cluster of estuaries. I think after the first kind of big TLC conference, or not big, there was others before this, but the Northwest Estuary Conference at Nate Heil's Olympia Estuary, Afriel Pilotson kind of like spearheaded the idea of like, this was awesome, and we don't need to wait for the rest of you guys to show up again for us to hang out together. And so I think November of 2024, 25? 24, yeah. So starting last or 2 Novembers ago, we started getting together and camping, and we've gone like 6 times now, something like that.
I think now we're shooting for bi-monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this wasn't really as much of a new experiment. See, Matt Krotz has a way of getting the details and the general principles wrong, and so when he was discussing it, he made it sound like it was a specific experiment as it pertains to what could be done with a kind of estuary or estuarial type of group. To what extent was that true?
I think Grim Grizz is trying to get a regional ingression protocol going sometime in June. And every time I ask for details, he puts me in charge of more things. So I guess it's my party now. So if you want to camp in June, email me at thislittlezine@gmail.com.
If you want to camp in June, you're going to have to get in. You're going to have to start supporting a small little online zine that has promised.
Wait, where's
to
the
post.
camping?
It's outside, bro.
Outside. That's the only thing that's determined so far.
Or could it be like a simulcat, like an in real life simultaneous event?
Ooh.
I think
like
that's the
several
goal.
campsites.
But I don't know.
Okay.
Every time I ask for clarification, I'm told I'm in charge. So
what is it? Sponsored by Starlink?
No, we just do it with our vibes or whatever. Just simultaneous.
We just
this is part of the problem. Everyone else in the country makes this all so complicated. You just need to go outside with a tent. You can even get by without a tent if it's not raining.
I go outside during the day. I don't get the kind of the dream of I'd like to be by predators that steal my food at night with no walls.
Stars and fire, man. Stars and fire.
Call me a techno optimist, but I like a wall.
Well, that's because you have bears. In Texas, we don't have bears, so it's special.
In Texas, you got other Texans. That's reason enough for a wall.
So after doing it so much in the Marine Corps, it sort of lost its appeal to me. It's just
all right, big shot. All right, we get you done way harder things than spend the night.
Not really.
We're camping. We're not bivouacking, sir.
Yeah, I mean, getting a fire together and just cooking some meat and shit like that. That's one thing, but just even okay, go out with a tent and just make it easy. Man, it is about as exciting as mopping a floor.
But you're doing it with other people and chatting.
Yeah.
And again, half the point of the woods part is to escape.
I agree with Michael. I agree with Michael. Camping is
from your storied history in the Marine Corps, McMo.
I didn't need to learn the hard way. Outside bad, inside good.
So other people could do it at a bar or something.
When they talk about how much Christ suffered in his human incarnation, how low was he willing to go for us? Was that like a fox, he had no den. Even the foxes have dens. It is good to live inside. Are you kidding me? A tent in the desert. Now, if you're a nomad in the desert, that's great. Tent. Oh boy, you're grateful for a tent. If you live somewhere, put a couple rocks together, brother. Put a couple rocks. Dig. Get some barriers.
You got McWoke sounding like a Chesterton fence salesman. Like, you got to live inside. You guys who are trying to live outside need to cut it out.
Do
Anyway,
not
it
go
sounded like
camping
a
into
really
the
fun
woods
time.
until you ask why your ancestors left the woods in the first place.
True.
Yeah.
So
I've
I will
camped
say,
enough.
as much as I don't really like it, there are times where my wife will be complaining about one thing or another. I'll be like, we're going to go camping. We're going to go camping and we're going to reset.
So it's like a mutual waterboarding. You're like, we
Yeah.
need to both suffer so that we can get our minds right.
Well, it's that, and just like, look, if we can't appreciate what we have, let's go without for a bit.
Eesh. Well, different relationships are different. You maybe that's what Noah, but maybe that's what the first president or first lady Foxman was. Maybe that's what they were doing. You know, they had some matters of state they needed to attend to or something. But I don't know. Get. So what was there any? Were there any big thematic takeaways from the conversation?
Your mic works like shit.
Yeah, I gotta clear out my AirPods. If you've got audio complaints, donate to the Ko-Fi and tell me what to do. Otherwise, just roll with me, folks. I'm doing my best.
Just unmute. We don't need to give you money for that.
All right, relax, Michael.
We talked a bit about Christology. That was a major theme. And then a bunch of video game stuff that just kept popping up over and over again.
So you went to the wilderness to talk about video games? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. What's
And
next?
then I came home and I beat
Talking
a
about
video game,
camping
and I'm
in the
like,
Discord?
I need to catch Noah in the woods again because I have so much to talk about now.
Yeah, I saw you post somewhere that you finished Death Stranding, Skank. Noah's. If you want to catch Noah playing Death Stranding, I mean, go find his YouTube page. Donate to my Ko-Fi, and I'll private message you his YouTube, his public YouTube page.
Norman Reedus and his incredible fetus.
All right, Olson, back from his walk, saying shared suffering leads to common history and a shared reference point for future conversation.
Fun things are fun, guys. Camping is fun. You don't need to,
and
you
also
don't need to overthink it.
the context too
so
of like
hard.
trying to be with other people like in person who are relatively far away for an extended period of time. Like it's kind of a necessity unless you're like renting a Airbnb together or something, which you could do. But this is the cheapest option as well.
Maybe it's not as similar as I think, but I think it's similar. Like the Texan estuaries, so there's guys in Dallas and Austin and Corpus Christi, and we got together last summer in Hallettsville, which is not close to anybody, and so we all drove from far away. And then we did it again in January, we did it in July, and like just it's funny to get together and see people that you might only know from, like, in that case, texty things, because like basically none of us go on live streams except like I think Corey, and the one in July was the only, like, he was the biggest face there, and so it's just kind of funny to see.
And Corey's got a big head too.
I don't know. He was far. It was like 15 people at the table because his kids and stuff were there, and so he was far away, so I couldn't see it so well.
Yeah, well, he's got a big face and he's got a big head. Like he's got actors have that. Like famous actors usually have like big head, big face, easy to read, you know, and kind of inherently compelling. They stand out in a crowd because of their
and a
bigger
nice
face.
smile.
He does have a nice smile.
He has a nice smile.
I hope Corey hears this.
If he does, Corey, you need a beard.
He's heavily involved in estuary, I think.
He's not Orthodox though, right?
No, he's Catholic. He's Catholic. You got to watch out for him, Brian. Watch
Right.
out, Brian.
So
He's Catholic.
we'll know when he
Careful.
switches when he grows the beard.
Well, but he if he's doing what he said last time I talked to him, he's hanging out with the Bizcasts.
You wish, dude. You wish. You wish. Dude.
I don't know what to tell you. That's what he told me because he's got a Ukrainian background.
Yeah, right. I'll see it when I believe it, dude.
I don't know. I don't know. They said I think they said they were moving like an Appalachian territory. Are they still out in Corpus?
I'm not sure where things are, and even if I knew, I don't know I don't know what's going on.
My understanding is that Appalachia is kind of the stretch between like northern Georgia, maybe up to Pennsylvania, New York.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say I'm moving to
Appalachian
Appalachia.
Trail goes all the way to Maine, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So maybe do the mountains go all the way up to Maine?
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, so he could be moving anywhere, really.
more central to it.
Well, boys, I've probably got about 5 more minutes. Do we want to give our last thoughts? Preferably, if you watched the earlier stuff, maybe give me you can do a weave of all of the content. You can give me your favorite, or you can give me your least favorite. And pull no punches, boys. This is the film room. You know, we're never going to get better if we can't tell each other how much our videos suck.
Do you want to volunteer someone to go first?
I mean, I'll jump in first.
I think we should go in reverse order of how we came. So Brian goes first. If you didn't see anything, Brian, no worries. Just give us a sign off. Maybe you tell us your kind of favorite TLC channel of the last week or so, if you didn't see all the clips. But that gives you enough options. So we'll go Brian, Michael, Noah, Skank. I think that was the order. So Brian, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So I've been liking the consistency of the Chris Howard show. Like being able to wait. He's like a morning show or something. Like you can always check him out when it starts, and that's nice. And like I'm gonna look back at the nipple tweak moment. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, brother. That's great. Michael, you're up.
I don't really hang out around these parts too much these days, but it was really nice seeing and hearing a couple of y'all. And Christos Anesti, may your memories be eternal.
Live.
Yeah, right back at you, dog. I don't remember what I'm supposed to say to that. Noah, you're up.
Favorite thing of the last week was probably just over a week ago. There was the Afriel Mark D. Parker co-stream kind of thing. There were a lot of good moments, intergenerational dialogue going on. Good time. And I'm looking forward to hearing Skankenstein talk more about Fragile and Quiet. So.
No, that's a good pull, Noah. I definitely second that. And I was somewhat involved in this as well, but I think last Saturday, so like a week ago, Afriel was talking about, I don't remember. He always names his stream some kind of gibberish. But something about icons, only math icons instead of religious icons. Anyway, it was solid. It was great. It was a great discussion that was then went off in a bunch of different directions. I don't know. As far as thoughts for today, the biggest video that stood out is probably the Jockin in OG Rose. That's probably the one I'm most likely to go back and spend some time with, just to figure out what in the world he meant by talking about memory and virtue, because it got me curious.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to end on a thank you, Skank, for being here the longest and being here the best. I feel like you kind of showed up in a way that the rest of the guys, quite frankly, just didn't. Noah, make as many faces as you want. There were plenty of silent moments when you could have interjected anything, sir. Anything. And you get away scot-free because of your meek demeanor. No longer. I'm not taking the new mcmo takes no prisoners. I'm muting and booting, and I'm holding my friends accountable. You guys Noah, you should have led the way as president. I expect more from you. You're supposed to be a leader, and you let me slip through the cracks. Do better. All right. No, it was very fun. Thanks for letting me berate you, Noah. But I'm going to end with old mcmo stream. I just picked a random one, and we'll get navel gazing nostalgia and listen to whatever I made on this chill stream from February 16th, 2025.
Are you gonna put like the recursive button at the end so that you turn this into a 3-hour short?
I don't even know what that means.
Like the button where like the beginning of the video is actually at the end, and so it jumps back to the beginning in a loop the way the shorts do.
Oh, whoa! Now we're innovating. You lost me.
It's the tenet of live streams right now.
I need to do that, huh? I need to somehow match up the last beat with the first beat of the next. This is too much.
Next time.
I don't even. I'm trying to wrap my mind around what it even means. I'm still missing the VNA bubble. I'm like, why can't I have a VNA bubble anymore? It's because I can't pay StreamYard. So we got things to work on, folks. Donate to the Ko-Fi. We'll figure it out. It was fun being back. Thank you to everyone who helped and joined and gave their thoughts and opinions. This is great. It was fun. There was very little negative experience the whole time, other than Noah not showing up for me. It was pretty great. Next time, maybe Noah shows up for his good old pal mcmo. We need more screaming from Noah. That is the one thing I think we do mean.
I've honestly been waiting for this for months. I really want to see like angry President Foxman.
Yeah, we got to get Operation Get Noah angry and mad. Jacob, we watched some of you battling the dragons, brother. Feel free to watch the whole thing. I think it was probably a good 2-hour stream. You know, it wasn't a chill stream. I didn't make a beat, but we'll still get to listen to some old mcmo radio here. And we rejoice in our sufferings. We continually ask God for wisdom because we need it. And things are looking up, folks. Ethan Kahi has carried the corner on his back. We've got smart people in the corner. We've got dumb people in the corner. We've got mentally ill. We've got decent family men. We've got everything you could ever want. And mcmo is back, baby. mcmo is back. Yeah, thanks for that very coffee house level applause. And of course, I probably didn't share the audio. Now it's just me, and there's no audio.
Yeah.
Well, I could still hear Noah, so that's good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
we're still live, Noah. So
while they can't hear us, I'm just gonna give some feedback. How dare you? How dare you say the things that you did and embarrass me on the live stream?
Oh, you're so right, dude. I apologize. I was in the wrong.
That's horrible.
I'm a bad person. I think I'm a bad person.
Live streaming is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, you gotta time yourself out. You gotta have more grace on yourself. Okay? Mistakes happen. It's okay.
I'm literally cramping right now for laughing. Oh my god. Oh gosh, that was good. That was good. Okay, I need to stop sharing and share again so that I can get my freaking. And I do need to drink some water as well because I'm probably a little dehydrated. I was sick all weekend. So this was February 16th, 25. What a great way to end a live stream. There's being back, and then there's President Foxman chewing your ass out on live internet. So here we go, folks.
You're
Thanks
not showing anything
out
on the stream, by the way, just so you know.
I've lost my touch, bro. It's over. It's over. I'm unk. I'm officially.
You gotta have more grace on yourself. You gotta.
Socrates' response is just a quick yes, but. And then he'll come up with some kind of flaw in it or objection to it. Right? It's translated to me technology with some criticism on the sense that there's also a shortcoming to it. There's always more. You know, he's always very creative, thinking of situations where your idea, your definition of the rule, kind of breaks down. And Socrates is like this guy that whenever you say something, they're kind of pausing.
I don't have a timing to be
Creation or something such that we can organize these things. I think that, but I do think it's interesting like a house and life and social nature of space. So we should understand that
All right. That was that. It is funny how we came back to that idea of what is justice.